Now, my first guest is going to be a rare treat for North America. If you've ever been to Las Vegas, and I know I have, you know that he is one of the few performers that can hold a candle to the likes of Sinatra, Liberace, Newton, and Sammy. In fact, he's been arrested for holding a candle to these men. Making his network talk show debut, it's a pleasure to welcome now international singing sensation, Tommy Velour. Nice to see you. Boy, oh boy, you dress and you move like a guy from Vegas.
I live in Vegas now, you know, Dave.
I know.
Because I work there 39 weeks a year.
Yeah. It's a great town, isn't it?
What a crowd this is.
Yeah.
I bought a big house there for the family.
Got a family?
Yeah,
How's Marie?
Marie sends her love to you.
Oh,
you know my boys?
Yeah.
The big one? What a bruiser.
Yeah?
Broads won't leave him alone. Little the old man rubbed off on him.
Yeah.
Hope he's not as weak as the old man.
Uh-oh.
Hey, Marie, no heat, babe. No heat.
But you're just kidding. I mean, you and Marie have been happily married now for
19 years, man.
19 years. It's unbelievable.
She's a good girl.
Yeah.
What a woman.
Do you, now you're a superstar in Las Vegas, and when you come to New York City or other towns, are there any hints you can give these other communities that they could take from Las Vegas?
Well, I'll tell you something, David, seriously. I've been living in Vegas now 2 years. I've been a registered voter for 2 years. I've been voting for 2 years, and since I began participating in the system, I took one look at the country, I took one look at Vegas. This city does not have the problems that other cities in this country have. It blows me away, man. I looked at it, I dug it, I said, why don't we run the country like they run the casinos?
Yeah. You mean a lot of bouncers and stuff walking around?
No, man. What I'm talking about is people are always complaining about losing money to taxes. They don't complain about losing money to the casinos.
That's right.
They're ready to lay down another bet. As soon as one is lost, they're ready to lay down another one.
That's right.
I say take those voting booths, pull those voting machines out, put slot machines in. Am I right?
I think he's right. I know that. What gets you angry about this country, aside from taxes and so forth?
I'll tell you, man, you read all the news about the Statue of Liberty?
Yeah.
I sat down, I cried, man. I mean, this country's been so good to me. I want to put a little back in what I got out of it. Mm-hmm. And when I think of them letting that little lady sit in that harbor and decompose. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you something, it just relates exactly to what's going on in this country. I mean, where was Uncle Sam when she needed a shoulder to lean on? This country's gotten flabby, Dave. I'm real worried about it. It's time that we toughened up.
Yeah. Well, I'll have to go along with that.
Am I right?
Yeah, Tommy is right. Now,
you take those Ruskies. A lot of cats in this world think they can push us around.
That's right.
I happen to be known as an entertainer, but I happen to be a pretty good card player at the same time. And as such, I know that keeping the peace is a lot like playing cards. You got to be able to call your opponent's bluff, and when the ante's high, you got to have a stockpile of chips to stay in the game. I think you know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
You know, these Ruskies, they'd like us to think that all they're into is fun and games, fat chicks, vodka. I'm going to tell you something. They keep those chicks fat just so they won't distract the men from making more bombs.
That's right. That's right. Now, I don't mean to interrupt you while you're working on the Ruskies here, Tommy, but you got your own television special coming up.
I do.
It's got to be pretty exciting for a guy like you.
Well, I'll tell you, I keep a pretty hectic schedule. And fitting this special in was a tough job. It was an all-day work for me.
A whole day working on the special, huh? Anybody who has seen you work in Vegas, Tommy, knows that you really put on a show. I mean, you sweat through a couple of tuxedos every night, don't you?
I appreciate what you say, man. I really do.
Now, I don't mean to belittle the role of an entertainer, but how do you know so much about world politics and so forth?
Hey, does this guy dig deep? I'll tell you, man, I'm not allowed to divulge it, but I do have certain information.
Yeah.
Let's just say that I comped a few cats at the Pentagon. That's all you need to know, man.
Yeah, that'll do it. They enjoy the coming in to catch a show and so on.
I'll tell you, I can't stick around. I got to run because
Yeah,
I got to
yeah.
fly back to Vegas. I got a midnight show.
Oh, great. You're quite a showman. We'll be looking for the special Tommy Velour's America.
10 o'clock tomorrow
10
night.
o'clock. I love the jacket. It's terrific.
Hey, Liberace's Taylor.
Always a pleasure. Tommy Velour, ladies and gentlemen.
My pleasure, man.
Thank you very much, Tommy. Tommy Velour. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
You look terrific, and let me ask you first of all about this. The funniest woman in America. How does that make you feel?
Inadequate.
Well, yeah, it would be tough to live up to that. You don't really, I mean, it's nothing you ever said, I don't suppose, is it?
No, not consciously.
Yeah. When you were out here with Mr. Velour, I mean, can we say that? I mean, people know that.
Well,
with
you can cross that. Well, some may not.
Well, now they probably do.
Well, yes, maybe.
That's a really bizarre effect to witness. Do you?
Well, it is up close, isn't it?
It's entertaining, but it's also, you think, good heavens, it's eerie because it's uncannily like Tommy Velour.
I know.
Where do you go about getting this character perfected?
Just sitting around in the world. You know, you don't have to do too much. I have a good wig. I don't like to talk about him that way.
How do you like to talk about him?
As if he's really out there someplace.
Well, he really was out there someplace.
I don't mind talking about him.
Before Tommy was on your last special,
Yes.
you kind of road tested him.
I did. How'd you know that?
Well, I do other things besides sit around the office, and occasionally.
Well, I went up. I was working on that Las Vegas special, so I went up to the boarding house in San Francisco. Is that what you mean?
Yes, ma'am.
And I worked on him a bit. Yes, I did.
Now, were people just going there to see a show, or did they know it was Lily Tomlin?
Oh no, I would first I would do a regular show, and then I would say to I only did him a couple of times, and I would say to the audience, I'd say, if you feel like sticking around for a couple of 10 minutes or so, I've got a friend, a singer, who's coming by to do a set, and he wants to try out some new material, and then I would just come. I'd go back and I would change, and I would come back as Tommy.
Mm-hmm. And how was he received then?
Well, they were fans, so they went crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they loved it, but but those are hardcore fans that come to see you in a nightclub.
Yeah. Did you ever, at any point along the way, not with just Tommy, but get any resistance for being a female doing male characters? I mean, it's gone the other way for years and years, but.
No, because the first one I did was in my Broadway show, and I didn't dress him or anything. He was Rick, the guy who hangs out in singles bars and tries to pick up girls.
Yeah.
And the piece was a man and a woman. I played a man and a woman, both relating in a singles bar. So, and I did it on stage and I did it on Broadway, and the show was a big hit, so no one said anything about it.
Yeah.
And I did it well.
Yeah.
And it had, and it had it was a very well done piece and well written. And I don't think I think it depends on how you do it, I suppose. I mean, I personally felt before I started doing men characters, I was a little hesitant because I felt I should be able to do as many men as I do women.
Mm-hmm.
That would only be the right thing to do.
Yeah. Now that character Tommy Velour makes me uneasy, but that kind of guy makes me uneasy. That's the whole thing. It has nothing to do with it being you,
Is that right?
Yeah, you just the lounge kind of. But I mean, there is that sort of Las Vegas
He would
kind of.
make you uneasy, a guy like that?
Not somebody I'd want to drive to Omaha with. You have a feeling with Tommy, you'd spend the afternoon talking about his cufflinks.
Well, maybe.
That kind of guy.
When we did him last year, we all sort of got a crush on him.
Yeah.
He's sort of, he's terribly cute, I think.
Yeah. When he's a combination of some people who.
Well, he's sort of everybody. He's a little bit Sammy. He's a little bit Wayne Newton. a little bit Bob Goulart. Anybody? I mean, I hope he's Tommy Velour, but
Yeah.
but I did steal Sammy's laugh from Sammy.
Yeah.
You know how Sammy laughs like that.
When I was looking over this information this afternoon, two things kept coming up about you. One, here's a performer who is risky, and two, they always linked you as being the female counterpart of to Richard Pryor.
Yes, they've said that in print.
Yeah. Now, how do you feel about that? Risky? Is that something you are? Take
I think it
risks?
appears that I take risks to the public or to the people in the business, but it never occurs to me that I do.
Now, what do they mean by that, risks?
Well, I mean, I suppose coming out here dressed as Tommy Velour is, and not doing, I mean, I'm not doing him in such a broad way that I'm ridiculing him, although you weren't afraid to do that. I mean, I feel, I mean, I love the way Tommy is, you know, it's a funny dichotomy, you know, of feeling affectionately toward him and sort of appalled at the same time.
Yeah.
And, but the affection sort of overrides it. He's just, I think he has great appeal. You know, he can't help it that he's not overly talented. And everybody just sort of loves him, you
Yeah,
know?
but see, the thing about it is
I
there
mean,
are
if you
real
believe his
guys.
life, if you believe that he plays all those weeks in Vegas and so on.
Yeah. But there are real guys like that. I mean,
Yes.
that's a real guy. Now, I mentioned a minute ago about Richard Pryor, and
Yes.
in all of the print material I've read, links you with him, compares you to him. Do you have a relationship with the man other than being compared to him all the time? Have you worked together?
We've worked together. Richard we worked together on a couple of my specials, my first two specials. And I'm a great fan of his.
You actually hired him as a writer for one in 1973?
Well, I hired him to be a performer first, but because I thought he would feel more comfortable, you know, performing. I mean, I absolutely always adored his talent. So when I wanted him to be on the special, I thought he'd be more comfortable if I hired him to write as well, you know, so that he could participate in.
Did the network readily jump at this notion in 1973?
I was reading your notes and I saw it says here, is it true that you once put up a fight to hire Pryor? You know, and I don't remember that.
You want me to fill you in?
I mean, I would maybe someone else put up a fight for me or something. I don't know.
It
I never
sounds
thought
good,
about
though.
it
If you fought for a man who was not, the network
Yeah,
apparently were not,
I
they
don't
thought he
wanna
was too
take that
dangerous.
credit.
You don't want to take it?
No,
Have you ever
I mean,
fought for
I don't.
anybody?
He's. I don't think he's so dangerous. I think, you know. I mean, I thought at the time that I was the lucky one.
You know, well, that certainly goes without saying. I mean, but it was nice of you to fight for him or not fight for him,
Okay.
whatever you chose to do
All
in those
right.
days. Have you ever had an occasion working with one of the three major networks where you had to fight to get something in the show?
Oh, sure, a little bit, sure.
Like what, example?
Well, on one of the shows that Pryor did in '73, we did a sketch where he played a junkie and I played a woman who owned a soul food diner, and the network was very upset that we were going to do that sketch, and they came down in the middle of the taping and told us to stop and things
Actually
like
interrupted
that.
the taping?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Now, how do you,
But I had gotten smart by then. I had done another special for them the year before, and I'd lost some what I consider to be prime material. So I just taped that same material again, and I bargained that material for the Richard Pryor sketch.
Yeah. At what point would you decide that you say, okay, you're right, and not fight for something?
I'd just be my own judgment and feeling and conviction, you know. I mean, I never think there's one way to do anything, but if their desire to get rid of something is maybe lacks integrity and is based on just some, you know, kind of chicken fear, then I would think that wasn't worth, that would be absolutely worth fighting for.
Yeah.
But if they make reasonable suggestions, and I always would want to work to accommodate anybody that I was associated with to some degree, you know, that I felt was satisfactory to me.